Public comments?
Yes, we have one, Ken Mays.
If this meeting were live streamed, many more citizens would be able to participate in this important decision that will affect their lives for as long as they live in Wildomar. Archiving that video would allow them to look back and see if your reasons for your decisions benefited the community. But I guess y'all wouldn't want that.
That's all the speakers I have.
Okay, 1.0 special meeting, so the ordinance?
1.1, ordinance regarding deferral of payment of development impact fees. Recommendation, staff recommends that the City Council introduce and approve first reading of an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 141, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Wildomar, California, amending Section 3.44.060 of the Wildomar Municipal Code related to the deferral of payment of development impact fees.
Staff report?
Thank you. The attached ordinance amendment explicitly provides that the city may defer payment of city-imposed development impact fees and issue a certificate of occupancy for a development project if the applicant agrees to enter into an agreement for deferral of payment of development impact fees with the city. Fees charged to development projects by agencies other than the city, such as the school fees, MSHCP, and TOMF, may not be deferred. And that concludes my report.
Okay, public comment?
Yes, we have two. First up is Ken Mays.
It is despicable that this council would elect to hold a meeting on this important subject on a weekday morning when virtually no one can attend. Especially in light of the fact that the cart has already careened off the track a week and a half ago when you deferred these fees without the benefit of an updated municipal code. Now you're just covering your rear end. CYA.
Next speaker is Joseph Morbido.
Good morning, council, or 60% of you. Generally, I'm for this, let's get business going. But during today's meeting, if you could go over the details of the deal and why the deal was necessary. We don't want to set any precedents unless it's some moneymaker for the city.
You're talking the deal from last meeting?
Or whatever is happening today.
Okay.
So, another question is, why wasn't this part of another meeting? As far as weekday mornings, I'm all for it. I'm wider awake, it's a better time of day, and the only people that come here are people that don't have traditional 40-hour-a-week jobs anyway, so to suggest otherwise is a strong man. Anyway, so what happens if this doesn't go through? I'd like to know what happens. Thanks.
That's all the speakers I have.
Okay, council, anything to say on it? Because this was something we already voted for last time. This is just the second reading. This has already been approved.
And this is the
all
first.
5 of us. Oh, this is the third?
No. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
The ordinance process.
Well, the Wildomar Square deferral agreement isn't on the agenda this morning. This is simply an ordinance amendment, so this will be your first reading.
Oh, yeah, the first reading for this, okay.
And then the second reading can take place at your next meeting.
Can we discuss,
You can discuss
as
anything you want.
as the attorney, there's no real need for this, but it's really, it kind of comes from last week's closed session, right?
Well,
It's
from the open session.
From the open session, but from predicators that what we weren't doing was right. So really, we're just making it so everybody's happy, and we're making it so there's no ambiguity with it, and what we're changing the verbiage with it, correct?
Right.
Okay.
This ordinance amendment, I don't think is legally required, but it's an effort to provide notification to readers and users of the municipal code that development impact fees may be deferred in specific situations and at the discretion of the city. It's not an exemption from impact fees, and I think that's an important distinction. development projects that choose to participate in this program still have to pay all of their development impact fees, they just pay them over time.
Do you have any questions on that?
I don't have, I mean, to me, it's self-explanatory. So Joe, what happens if we don't? Nothing. And what was the other question? I didn't write it down.
The details of it, obviously this is an ordinance, so not, I should have been at the other meeting.
Okay, we can talk afterwards. We can,
Yeah, I think the most important aspect to remember is all of the fees that can be used today will be paid today. The fees that are being deferred are fees that we don't have enough money to do anything with. We're gonna put them in an account and leave them there. By deferring them, we're helping the developer get started, or the individual home builder, or the small builder that builds 2 or 3. It would help all of those people. We haven't set up the guidelines of who will be able to use this. This definitely is not for a big builder, for a home track. That's not our intention at all. It's for a smaller project and to help some new people be able to come to the city and build jobs, build homes, and be able to be here, and to build our money towards a community center or the several other things that go into these different funds that there's not enough money there to spend anyhow. We're gonna get 2% interest. It'll be locked to the property, to the tax rolls where they will have to pay. So it's not exempt. It is being deferred with interest, which in my opinion will help the city and will help the people of the city. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. John and I were small-time builders. We did onesie-twosies and built them and sold them. We bought some, fixed them up. The fees got so high, we couldn't do that. There's no way in this market and this time of high fees. $50,000 almost, including water, meter, sewer, all of your fees, before you even get the permit to start building. And not many people can do that. It doesn't save them a whole lot, but it saves them a little bit and makes it where they pay it in different spots and different places. They can pay their sewer fee and their water fee maybe a little bit later. They get a will serve letter, but they still pay. We're not letting anybody off. We're not making anyone exempt. We're not letting anyone off the hook from paying their fair share to keep the city running. And that's all we're looking for. Does that make it simple?
Sure.
Yeah, I think the HERO program is the perfect example of this type of a fee. HERO, like I did, I used the money to put the brand new airs to update the house with the air conditioning to lower the cost and everything. Went on my tax bill for 5 years. I deferred it. They're getting interest, and I get to pay it over 5 years instead of having a lump sum at the very beginning. Same thing here. Other cities are already doing this. This is nothing new. We've looked at other cities, we saw what their ordinances were, and that's why we're making our own ordinance in order to allow the smaller guy. This isn't the big home builders or the big commercial places that have hundreds of thousands of square feet or 1,500 homes. This is the small people, to let them be in the game to where they can move their payments of the DIF fees that we control over a certain amount of time. So that's what this is all about. And we already been talking about this for quite a while as a city. We thought about something like this before, but nobody's ever pushed it forward. And now it's become something that we can actually do, and that's why we're doing it. So it's the first reading for that. This ordinance.
Yeah, we waived a bunch of fees last time.
Nice.
We did, so.
No, we deferred them.
We're
We
deferred them.
waived
Yeah,
them.
we're doing things, we deferred
Yes.
them, yes.
Yeah, that's the big
Where's
deal. A
the
lot of
report?
people don't get it. We don't lose anything.
And
We just
this-
don't have it all in one lump sum. And that's fine, because we can't use it anyway, not up front. There's not enough there. We're needing those bigger developments to come in and put the big pot of monies in. Then you can actually do something. But the smaller guys, you know, it helps them out, helps the small onesie-twosie shops like the Subway and different things like that. This would have been a perfect thing for those type of people to help them out with their getting into their location. So that's why we're doing it. So with that, I just need a motion.
So moved to approve ordinance number 141.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, all ayes, with Councilwoman Moore and Mayor Pro Tem Benoit absent.
Okay, with that, we're adjourned.